Hello everyone, this is Jack Frost with your weekly update for the Ethereum Technicals and XRP. This week I will be doing a full analysis for these markets. On the Ethereum weekly chart, price has broken above resistance, now support at 1750 with this large candlestick for the last completed week. This current week begins with price moving a little bit lower to test that support point, though it has not broken below that support point at this point. Volume continues to support downwards movement overall on the weekly chart. A slight push on the last completed week may offer some short-term support for upwards movement, though as it is lower than the previous pushes on bearish candlesticks, we do see the bearish volume profile to remain. ADX continues to increase with a bearish trend that is currently extreme. It may continue to where ADX reaches very extreme conditions, or it may just remain in extreme conditions. RSI is neutral, having returned from oversold recently, though it only just entered oversold. Money flow is neutral and declining, getting quite close to oversold itself, though it has not yet entered oversold. ATR is declining for the short term as price declines, with a little bit of upwards movement for the very short term. ATR continuing to decline. Overall, ATR has previously increased along with price, declining with price, and increasing with price again, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility. And as this trend indicated by ADX is extreme, it may end at some point soon before ADX reaches very extreme conditions, as we have seen in the past, though it may also continue towards very extreme conditions, while RSI and money flow may enter oversold, RSI entering it again, and money flow entering it for the first time, while both RSI and money flow may exhibit some bullish divergence before the trend may be in danger of ending at the weekly time frame. On the technical daily chart for Ethereum, we see more detail for price's recent upwards movement, this prior bullish engulfing pattern at the low here. This recent candlestick here, this large bullish candlestick, could potentially be seen as a bullish engulfing pattern, though with this previous one here, I have not labeled it as such. It is still a strong bullish candlestick. Price has recently broken above resistance, now support at 1800, remaining ever so slightly above that support point for the close of the last session. The pushes on volume have increasingly been lower as price continues, particularly for the short to mid-term on the daily time frame. Though for the short term on the daily time frame, we do see some pushes on the bullish candlesticks, potentially offering some short-term support for upwards movement through volume on the daily time frame. ADX continues to decline on the daily time frame, showing no clear trend. Unbalanced volume moves within a widening range, currently giving no signal. ATR is declining as price increases for the very short term, indicating some potential weakness in the upwards movement. Previously on the daily time frame, ATR increased as price declined, though it has overall declined along with price. And as ADX declines at the daily time frame for Ethereum, we use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. This model suggests the upward swing may be complete at support resistance around 1800, and a downward swing may occur at this point, potentially moving lower now towards support around 1500. Where price may find that support point, while stochastics may enter oversold. It is important to note that, as always, we do rely more heavily on the Elliott Wave count for markets like Ethereum, and so if you do want an update for that, we have done an update for that today. You can sign up for that at pureelliottwave.com using the link in the description below. On the XRP weekly chart, not much has changed. Price is expected to continue higher for intermediate wave 3 within primary wave 3. This Elliott channel drawn around the minor degree movements within intermediate wave 3 using Elliott's second technique may provide some resistance for minor wave 5 as it continues higher. This channel is drawn from the end of minor wave 2 to the end of minor wave 4 with a copy on the end of minor wave 3. As this is a fifth wave ending a third wave 1 degree higher, it may also end with a blow off top, breaking above resistance at this Elliott channel. And so if price does break above this Elliott channel with a full green candlestick above and not touching, it would not be cause for concern and may offer a little bit of confidence to this wave count at that point. With minor wave 4 complete at this last low just here, if it continues any lower, it cannot move into minor wave 1 price territory at 0.6585. And with intermediate and primary degree third waves moving higher, we have these targets and Fibonacci durations. It's important to note that these Fibonacci durations and targets are not correlated. And so while it may occur that intermediate wave 3 may end around this target, within this Fibonacci duration, it may take a longer or shorter Fibonacci duration and or may reach a higher or lower target. And so it's important to note that particularly with these Fibonacci durations, they are just estimates and may be altered as price continues, particularly for intermediate wave 3 ending around the middle of July. With this target, the price is quite a little bit away from. It is looking a little bit unlikely, and so for the following analysis, depending on how price continues for the next week, this Fibonacci duration for intermediate wave 3 may be altered. A couple of videos ago, we did the same thing for primary wave 3, altering this Fibonacci duration. For intermediate wave 3, it has this target calculated at 6.11 using the 6.854 ratio of intermediate wave 1, and it may end around July 17th this year if it lasts a Fibonacci 377 days. Though at this point, as previously mentioned, it may last a little bit longer, and we may have an altered Fibonacci duration for intermediate wave 3 in the following video. Primary wave 3 continues higher with a target calculated at 27.44. This uses the 14.72 ratio of primary wave 1, and it may end around August 18th this year if it lasts a Fibonacci 144 weeks. And this high with the end of minor wave 3 on the weekly chart. As this high here on the daily chart, we see more detail for the downwards movement labeled minor wave 4 in the very beginning stages of minor wave 5. We have this confidence point at 3.4, that is the end of minor wave 3 just here. If price does move above this point, then we can have some confidence in minor wave 4 being complete at this low here, and minor wave 5 to then continue higher. At that point, we can raise the invalidation to 1.6140, the beginning of minor wave 5 just here. In addition to this target and Fibonacci duration for intermediate wave 3, we have this target and Fibonacci duration for minor wave 5, though at this point it is looking quite unlikely, and as with the Fibonacci duration for intermediate wave 3, we may alter this duration for minor wave 5 in the following video. And so this target for minor wave 5, if price reaches this initial target for intermediate wave 3, while the structure for minor wave 5 remains incomplete, then we will use this higher target, calculated at minor degree, at 6.42, where minor wave 5 would equal 1.618 times the length of minor wave 3. Aside from that, all of these points are the same, and as price continues, we will be able to add the lower degree labels for minor wave 5 to get a clearer idea for the structure, subdivisions, and potentially where the waves may be labeled complete. On the technical weekly chart for XRP, price has increased for the last completed week with this bullish engulfing pattern after this recent decline here, and price consistently finding support around 2.0. Volume is consistently declining. The pushes on volume are increasingly weaker. A slight push on the last completed week does offer a little bit of support to the bullish engulfing pattern, though as it is a much weaker push than the previous push from volume, it really does not offer a lot of support. ADX declines at the weekly timeframe, showing no clear trend. ATR is declining along with price for the short term, giving an overall bullish outlook for volatility, previously increasing along with price. And as ADX declines at the weekly timeframe for XRP, we continue to use the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. At the weekly timeframe, this model suggests a downward swing may continue, potentially to where price may test support again at 2.0, potentially testing it a little bit more thoroughly, while stochastics may enter oversold. On the technical daily chart for XRP, we see more detail for price's recent decline and increase after this bullish engulfing pattern here at the last low. Price moving above support prior resistance at 2.0, now remaining above with some sideways and a little bit of upwards movement. Again, volume is declining with increasingly weaker pushes. For the very short term, we see some pushes on the bullish candlesticks offering a little bit of support to upwards movement, though for the midterm we do see strongest volume on this downward session here at the last low. It is possible that this push from volume as well as some increasing range for the candlestick may indicate that the low may be sustained at this point, as we can see an increase in range and push from volume with both sustained lows and interim lows. And so to make sure it is a sustained low and not an interim low, we do require bullish confirmation. That bullish confirmation would most likely come in the form of a break above resistance at 2.8 with support from volume. ADX is now increasing on the daily timeframe, increasing from a low point and below both DX lines. This gives the strongest bullish signal that ADX can give, as it increased from just below 15. This offers some support to the Elliott Wave count. RSI is increasing, though it remains in neutral territory. Money flow is also neutral and increasing, getting a little bit closer to overbought than RSI. Neither RSI or money flow exhibit any divergence at the daily timeframe. ATR is declining as price increases for the short to mid-term, previously increasing as price declined through its last short-term low. This gives a slight bearish outlook for volatility, seeing some potential weakness in this upwards movement. And as this trend indicated by ADX is still in its very early stages, It may continue to where ADX reaches extreme or very extreme conditions and may remain in extreme or very extreme conditions, while RSI and money flow may enter overbought and or exhibit some bearish divergence before the trend may be in danger of ending at the daily time frame. However, with the declining volatility through ATR and some weakness in volume overall, it is important to manage risk carefully, particularly at this time with the very early stages of this bullish trend on the daily time frame for XRP as indicated by ADX. And as always, we do rely more heavily on the Elliott Wave count for markets like XRP as well as Ethereum, though it is still important to take these technical indicators into consideration for a more objective and broad overview for the market. That's all for me with your update for XRP and the Ethereum Technicals. As previously mentioned, if you do want the Ethereum Elliott Wave count, we have done an update for that today at pureelliottwave.com. You can always sign up for that using the link in the description below. Thank you, and I hope everyone has a good week.